Hey there, I'm Greg Finn,
And I'm Christine Zernheld,
aka Shep,
and it is officially Marketing O'Clock.
here on October 11th, 2019.
Remember, you can catch our famous Friday news shows each and every Friday morning,
We read all the news.
so you don't have to.
This week's show is brought to you by Optio. Optio helps Google Ads managers automate time-consuming manual tasks so you can spend more time on high-level strategy and creative work, whatever you feel like, Shep.
Optio analyzes your Google Ads performance and suggests new ways you can optimize the account. It helps you stay on top of bids, budgets, keyword management, and ad testing.
And they give you almost everything over at Optio. One of my favorite things is the alert about adjusting location bids. So if you in your Google Ads account have specific locations that you're targeting, if Optio has some ideas on how to raise or lower a specific location, you could hop in and say, oh, Texas is not really performing. I'm going to take that minus 18%, click on through, and Optio will make that change, not just recommend it.
And I love the negative keyword conflict reporting, which seems like such a basic thing. It is 2019. Microsoft Advertising is doing it, and Google can't give that to us. So Optio does. And it's awesome. It identifies the conflicts, whether they're in a list, at the ad group, or campaign level, and you can click a button and apply them to your campaign right there and fix the conflict right away.
Okay, so right now, Optio is offering a special 6-week trial only for listeners of Marketing O'Clock. Just go to optio.com/marketing o'clock to get started. It's usually just a month trial. Marketing O'Clock listeners, 6 full weeks to try it. Hop in there, see all the recommendations, and then be on your way if you choose. That's optio.com/marketing o'clock. All right, Shep, what's in the news this week?
First up in the news, Google began showing user-generated images in Google Shopping product reviews this week. Retailers on the, as Greg likes to remind us, pay-to-play platform can now include review images in product review feeds. To start using this feature, all you need to do is sign up for Google Product Review Rating Program if you haven't already. And Google also has updated schema documentation, which Matt Southern links to right from the Search Engine Journal article, which we will link to in our show notes. So this seems like a pretty easy thing to set up and will be awesome for people using Google Shopping. I hope that the users out there have better images than some of these retailers.
I didn't look at the examples from the article. Were they
Not
bad?
examples from the article, just examples from my life. Like, I think they've kind of fixed it lately a little bit, but Zara, when you try to, it's a clothing retailer.
I think I've been in there.
Really?
New York Zara,
The
yes.
real one? Okay.
Yes.
When you're online, they have pictures of models. You could be buying a dress, and it'll be a woman like wearing the dress with a jacket on top. She's like bent over, half in the refrigerator. There are these lifestyle shots, and you have no idea what you're buying.
Oh, my wife has that, I think. The fridge dress.
So it could be awesome for people to upload images of the dress so you know what it looks like. Or I was on Wayfair recently trying to buy a wardrobe with like shelves and hanging space on the inside. There's all these wardrobes with no pictures of the inside on them, only the outside.
Well, that's all that matters.
No,
Right?
I need to see what I'm buying. So maybe if users can do a better job than the retailer is, I'll be more likely to buy. I love this.
Yeah, and I actually think from an Amazon perspective, where I think Google is going with this, Amazon does a great job encouraging people to put pictures up there. And I think that's why Google is making this push towards product reviews, is to be able to compete, right? How good is Google Shopping? You just mentioned you have to be paying to be on here. You might as well have some extra value. And if you can make it easy for people to review products, that's great. And Google is pushing this big time with Google Ads. If you've got a feed, Google in the recommendations will say, you are not fully optimized. You need to go ahead and put this code on your thank you page with pass all these parameters in so that people can give you reviews. And by giving you reviews, I mean giving Google reviews.
Some good recommendations from Google. It's kind of rare sometimes.
No. Go to Optio if you need a good recommendation.
Right.
All right, next up is some big news for webmasters with video. Google has 2 new reports in Search Console to help you learn more about your video's performance. And that report is called Videos.
Nice.
To no one's surprise. But first off, you can see errors and warnings. So that's one of the big things. If you've got video errors in any of your markup, or anything that's going on, you can find that in Search Console under the Videos tab. And there's really 3 main places where you can see video views from searches, essentially. And one isn't really a search, but it's search results, video search. So if you're searching for something on Google and you hit video results, that's different. It's going to be a different set of results. And then Discover tab. So all that now will come into Search Console, which is cool. You can see the performance by breaking it down by type. So you can see Discover, web, and video as well. Just break that down, and that is all in that videos system. In order to be eligible, you need to be using the video object structured data. So if you are not using that, it will not work. And head over to our show notes or marketingclock.com to get all the links. And over at Search Engine Journal, they break that all down for you. One thing that I thought was a little bit contradictory when I was looking at the example, this was from an actual Google blog post announcing this. One of the searches that they gave, and this was not an image or a video search, this was just regular Google search. The query was Google Webmaster Blog Videos. And the image they used showed videos from the JavaScript series in 2019, creating an SEO strategy from 2013, something from all the way back in 2010, and then something with Matt Cutts in 2011. But Matt Cutts, in kind of a weird purple background, it says, new Webmaster tutorial videos, August 9th, 2011.
Yikes.
And so I thought we were supposed to be updating these things.
Yeah.
You know, and not saying that things are new and keeping things relevant. And here's an example. Hey, Google, update your stuff. That's not new anymore. That should be 2011's Webmaster tutorial videos. But I just thought that was coincidental. I don't know.
That's funny. At least in their own examples, they could show some of their recommendations at work. That's crazy.
I do like the fact that they actually, you could tell this is an actual screenshot because it's messed up. You know, it's not like they hacked some stuff together.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. And that does it for the main news this week. It's now time for this week's Take of the Week. This is a spicy #fire digital marketing take with extra sauce served up for you.
We simply serve up the take for your consumption.
We give no opinions. We don't influence.
You make the call.
And this week's take comes from Jennifer Slegg at Genstar on Twitter. Jennifer penned the following tweet. Pro tip. Just because Google says you don't need something to rank well doesn't mean you should just remove it from the list of best practices for your site. If it is still helpful or useful to users, your actual audience, you should probably still do it.
And I think when she says pro tip, she's being a little sarcastic because this seems like something we should all know. Like user experience should be first in mind. So it's kind of funny that people don't even consider that.
I like the pro tip. That's how you know. It's like, hey, get it together. Do what's right for people. Who cares?
But you don't have an opinion.
I have an opinion on this. I definitely have an opinion on this. It's fantastic. Thank you, Jennifer.
It's a great take.
All right. And that brings us to this week's lightning round.
Pew, pew. At this point in the show, we split up our content into 2 parts, paid and
non-paid.
I cover everything to do with advertising, aka paid, and Greg covers the organic, aka
non-paid.
Here's what's happening in the paid universe this week. First up, Microsoft Advertising,
the platform formerly known as Bing Ads,
is saying, us too, they are also getting rid of accelerated delivery. All search, dynamic search, and shopping campaigns on the platform using accelerated delivery will switch to standard on November 1st.
Shep, any guesses as to why this change?
To make things easier for advertisers?
No. It's because Google did it last month. That's the only reason. How are you going to import things if it's not apples to apples?
So it'll make things a little bit easier for the import, but giving up some control. So we have some more news from Microsoft Advertising, who announced some changes to manager accounts this week. As of Monday, October 7th, new Microsoft Advertising users will automatically have manager accounts when they sign up, whether they plan to manage multiple accounts or not.
Yes, because you never know. Sometimes you have side projects or different products within a company that have different budgets and need to be tracked differently. You never know. Set it up now. It's not going to be a huge burden on anybody. I love this. This is great.
So they have more news on that. They're introducing hierarchies to make connections between accounts and manager accounts. This is an open beta, and you can fill out a form if you'd like to be a part of it. And this basically means if you're an agency that takes on a client with their own manager account, which is going to be everyone soon because anyone who signs up now is going to have a manager account, this is going to be a lot easier. And finally, they announced an open beta for sharing UET tags and remarketing lists across accounts from the shared library. All news that sounds good for agencies, I'd say.
The one caveat that I have is that last part you talked about sharing UET tags. For agencies, that's really cool. You're right. But what if you're a customer of an agency and you don't want that shared? I know there are many companies out there that say, oh, we deal with car dealerships and we have competing people in the same location. I wouldn't want my code shared with a competitor.
I guess I'm just being selfish and thinking of us who would only handle this the right way.
You're very selfish, Shep.
But yeah, I guess there could be some sketchy results out there.
No, I agree. I think overall it'd be good. I do like the control or the option of control to be given to that actual account to say, I'm going to share this with my agency or not.
And we have some Nextdoor news this week. We don't talk about them a whole lot, but Nextdoor introduced new local deal ads for small businesses. Pricing is impression-based and depends on the number of neighborhoods targeted and the population density of those areas. Nextdoor says competition will not impact pricing. And these ads will appear in residents' feeds, on business pages, in the business section, and in search results. So in the headline, they said they were kind of search and display ads, which is an interesting way to look at it.
I don't know about that.
So I do want to talk about Nextdoor for a minute. Because first of all, it's October. We need to all remember the best part of Nextdoor, which is the trick-or-treating map they have.
I didn't even know they had that.
Yeah, you have to add your house and you can say you're giving out candy. You can also say they have all these different allergy options you can say you're a part of. So you're not giving out nuts maybe, and then there's one where you're not giving out food-based treats at all.
Whoa.
I don't know what you'd give out. Pencils?
Yeah, I don't even know. Pencils.
Pennies?
Yeah, you can just put that as the avoid these houses filter.
I'm so sad for those kids. But then I also stumbled upon the best of Nextdoor Twitter, which I haven't looked at in a while.
That's great.
It's amazing. Okay, so I have a couple really good ones. Here's the first one. Seeking corgi for 1 hour.
Oh boy. Yikes.
Does anyone have a corgi I could borrow for an hour or two Saturday evening, May 19th? It would be from 6 to 8, or it can be earlier or later, shorter or longer. It would be for a royal wedding viewing party.
What?
And the corgi would receive much admiration and care.
Do the royals have corgi pets or something?
Yeah, Queen Liz she loves her corgis.
Who's Queen Liz?
Queen Elizabeth II. She always has like 4 corgis at a time. She loves them.
Okay.
So that must have been last year during the royal wedding. Okay, then they have this poll series now for people who can't figure out polls.
What? This is amazing.
Okay, poll. How do I change the name of my Gmail address to include my husband's name? Don't know if I'm in correct category. Poll option 1 is what are pool choices? Because it must have said poll choices. Poll option 2 is what the heck? Sounds like they listen to our show. Okay, last one. 2 kids on each other's shoulders wearing a raincoat trying to buy beer.
And this is to change the emoji or to the profile picture?
What do you mean?
What is the poll for again?
Oh, trying to change her Gmail address to include her husband's name.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know why
I don't understand what that was.
I guess you want a couple Gmail account? I don't know.
What do you think about couple Gmail accounts?
I guess it could be good for like the kid's teacher. They don't have to CC people.
Okay.
It's better than a couple Instagram, that's for sure.
Well, what else is next?
Okay, so we have some Quora news this week. That was quite the tangent. Quora announced 3 new targeting options for advertisers this week. The first is keyword history targeting, allowing advertisers to target users who have previously read certain sets of questions. The second is gender targeting, which is interesting. I didn't realize they didn't have this already, and I think it's weird to add it now. For certain products, yeah, it makes sense.
And definitely does not make sense for certain products,
right,
like employment or housing.
And they specified that you can't use it for those categories in particular, but I feel like more could be added to that. There's a lot of gray area. And they specifically say in the press release about this, maybe you want to use different messaging for male and female audiences, which I feel like is getting into a little bit of spooky stuff.
Yeah, and as an agency, I'm going to tangent off here now. Whenever any of that happens, everything is directed by the client, or the client understands. I think that that's really important. You see a lot of these mistakes coming, and I don't know if the company actually knew what was occurring. I don't know if they actually knew that there was gender targeting going on. So I think that's really good to open that dialogue up and make sure people know what you're doing. Be honest with them. In one example, we were targeting something in a certain age, and we're trying to target people in the working demographic, and we went pretty broad, and they said, no, let's dial it in. But they got the choice to make that decision, which is important.
Because if they end up in BuzzFeed because they're targeting a certain age demographic, and that's not kosher.
Yes. And it wasn't for jobs specifically. Just my example I'm talking about, it was for a specific conference. But they made the choice. As an agency, don't make that for them, especially as you now can see a lot of the targeting that's going on in general. So end rant there.
But if you want to use it, you can now use it on Quora. And finally, they added browser targeting so you can target specific desktop browsers. Next up, Google Ads announced this week that advertisers can now set conversion actions at the campaign level for video campaigns. Yay!
Woohoo!
Yeah, this is awesome. And it's available for search and display campaigns. As most of our listeners know, we reported on it in the past, and now you can do it for video as well. Finally, Tripadvisor Connect was announced yesterday. This allows advertisers to run ads on Facebook and Instagram that will use Tripadvisor audience profiles and Facebook's ad inventory and targeting capabilities to run co-sponsored ads.
That's amazing.
That's a mouthful.
But that's so cool.
Yeah. So the audience profiles that they have a couple of examples from that they got from Tripadvisor are beachgoers and outdoor enthusiasts. I would probably have one for ghost tour enthusiasts.
Oh, yeah, you'd be on that.
Yeah. I really like to go to other cities.
I feel like Jess would be on that too.
Probably. She went on a prison tour in Philadelphia once or something.
Oh yeah, she like slept in a prison. She did like whatever that's called, scared straight, real life. Not really. It was like an old abandoned prison turned into
tour.
a B&B, Airbnb or something.
So the profiles have been built using Tripadvisor's Facebook and Instagram followers, in addition to more than 490 million unique monthly users that visit Tripadvisor's website. And the ads are going to appear on Instagram and Facebook with the Tripadvisor logo and the name of the company advertising. So it's kind of interesting that they're kind of getting free ads with all these ads.
I love it. I love the creativity. I love that they're trying to offer this up and still make a buck. But in reality, it's great for everybody. How can people complain about this?
I'm waiting to see one in the wild to see what they look like. And as I said, they're only available on Facebook and Instagram now, but in the article, they mentioned expanding this into other platforms, so we'll have to keep our eyes open for that. And that is it for paid this week. What's going on in non-paid?
All right, this week in non-paid, first up, Google My Business was seen in the wild, and this is not confirmed, supporting GIFs on mobile. And I couldn't get this to replicate, but Andy Simpson at NDYJ Simpson on Twitter found an example with Starbucks with a coffee drop going into a coffee.
But it wasn't even a Starbucks cup.
No, that's why I don't understand. But it went into their My Business, and the GIF worked on mobile. Again, it didn't work for me. But if you care about GIFs and it will help your business, check it out. It just got me thinking about GIFs in general. And I saw a GIF recently that really, I don't know why it made me smile so much. So, Shep, I'm going to let you click through and click on this GIF. And tell me if it's good or bad. I can't tell.
I'm scared. It's loading.
Okay.
What? What is that? I don't understand.
I couldn't stop watching this GIF.
Archaeologists.
It's an archaeologist trying very daintily to wipe off the dirt and silt off of a skull. and then immediately somebody takes a hammer and smashes through the head. I feel like half the time that's what we're doing here with clients and things like that. We're like, all right, we've got this all prepared. We've got this ready to go. And then somebody just smashes through this with a hammer. Head over to Marketing Clock and see this GIF. Is this a good GIF?
It's a sad GIF. And I asked you before if it was a business GIF, and you said no. And you turned it into a business GIF.
I guess so. That's what I think of is this poor soul is just brushing with a little teeny paintbrush or a toothbrush the skull, all the dust off, and then somebody just smashes it with a hammer.
It's really sad.
I don't know why. I just couldn't stop watching this. I'm like, it reminds me of the I'm trying, Jennifer.
You should add that to our Google My Business.
Yeah, we'll add that to the Cypress North Google My Business. Okay, next up, Bing has announced that they are adopting Microsoft Edge as the Bing engine that will run JavaScript and render web pages. What does this mean? Well, there should be less fragmentation. And what I mean by that is the ability to run through JavaScript better, understand pages better, is that uses the open source Chromium project. So hypothetically, this should be a big step for Bing to understand more about some of the complexities that could be hidden and aren't necessarily easily identifiable in the HTML. So Bing will now be doing this. Google has already come out and announced this. So now that Google is going to be able to run through and more easily identify items in JavaScript. Shep, should we not care about regular fundamentals and just put everything hidden in JavaScript or fragments or however we want?
I would say we should still care about fundamentals.
Yes. Listen to Jennifer Slag. That's why she was the take of the week this week. Do what's right for people. Just because they can do it doesn't mean they're going to do it well. Make it easy.
It all comes back. We're trying, Jennifer.
Love it. I love that, CJ. Okay. And now next from The Verge. It's not really from The Verge, but I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Instagram's following tab is going away this week. RIP's following tab. But before I get to it, I guess, do you know who broke this article?
Yes.
BuzzFeed. And so we like to try to identify with the source of everything. But they have gone insane over there. Everything is more clickbaity than the next. Did you read the title of this article?
I unfortunately did. And I swear, I think it wasn't originally the article title. I think they changed it.
Everything is taken up to they grant Cordone 10x to every article that you have. The name of the article that BuzzFeed actually came out with was "Horny People, You're Free. Instagram's following tab is gone."
It wasn't stopping them before.
And I'm going to continue. The byline: "No longer can you cringe while seeing your friends or coworkers thirsty late night likes." Somebody
unsavory.
Really was, unsavory and biased too. You could also see if somebody was out there, an NBA player, let's say, and they're liking stuff from a certain team and they're on the market. That's not unsavory.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It can be used for good, is what I'm saying.
Or it was fun when Bachelor people, the show would still be filming and you know when they were getting kicked off because they'd have their phone again and they'd start following people.
Oh.
And you'd kind of figure out if they're single or not and if they're following guys or girls. It was very interesting. And that's gone now.
You need a forensic podcast, Shep. We need to get you on that. But anyway, it doesn't have to be about creepy, unsavory stuff. So shame on you, BuzzFeed. Now we're reporting it from The Verge. But so the following tab is going away. It is ending this week. So if you like that now, all you're going to be able to see is the activity that occurred on your account. You're not going to be able to creep on others.
And Twitter's having a lot of fun with this. People are tweeting really funny things about the following tab going away.
Oh, I haven't noticed.
And it's better on Twitter than BuzzFeed. They're supposed to be a news organization.
Next up, Google is testing search results without URLs.
Why?
Great question, Shep. I have no idea. I don't understand what's wrong with the URL, but if you check out the article, you can see there's the name of the company and the breadcrumbs as to what page it's on. So I don't know why people don't like URLs. I love it. And also, I would imagine it's got to be really hard to police the name that people put onto a page in your favicon.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like this would be ripe for phishing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I am some scammer. I rank well for something. All of a sudden, I change my name to Amazon and I change my logo. And now people think it's Amazon and they can't see what URL it's going to. That seems insane to me. I don't understand why people hate URLs so much.
I guess they're hard to read because all the words are together, but it tells you where you're going.
It's an address.
Yeah.
People need addresses.
It's a real thing.
And the other thing, there's a lot of criticism about the fact that people think Google might be doing this because then nobody's going to use URLs anymore. And you're going to have to type things in, and then it's going to be more ad revenue. And I get that a little bit.
I don't know.
But if you don't say URLs anymore and they're taken away from Chrome and there's no Chrome URLs anymore, again, that was a test or a conversation from earlier in the year, and then there's no URLs anywhere, you would have to just start typing words in. What else would you do if you don't have URLs?
I guess. That seems so far off.
That's how it all
sounds like
starts.
A scary world.
That's how it all starts. It seems so far off. Whoa, it's here. All right, next up. The Supreme Court allows blind people to sue retailers if their websites are not accessible from the LA Times. And Shep, this is frightening, this article. So the justices turned down an appeal that Domino's had made on a ruling from the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. And that ruling was holding the Americans with Disabilities Act as protecting access not just to restaurants and stores, but also to the websites and apps of those businesses. So that was upheld. So Domino's now can be sued. The Supreme Court upheld that ruling. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and business groups had actually appealed that ruling because it's going to lead to some major problems, as you might expect. So what will happen with this ruling is Domino's is going to go to court over the fact that the website was not ADA compliant. I believe this specific claim was not app-based. It was website-based. That the order a pizza option, the site was accessible, but the order a pizza option was not accessible, I believe was what had happened. So if now your site is not ADA compliant, which is a lot.
It's really hard, right?
Any image you have to explain it. Any video you have to explain it. So that has to be somewhere so that it can be accessed. So any text on the image and the video, you should explain that if you want.
Sounds like it could be someone's full-time job, just keeping your site compliant.
That absolutely could be, because anything that exists has to also be chronicled, essentially, and made accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't even know how on earth you could do this for apps. I don't even understand how you could do it for apps. Let's say you're Warby Parker and you've got the app about putting glasses on your face. How can you make that accessible? How can you make that accessible to a blind person?
You can't.
I don't what if it's a game? What if it's a game, you're a company and you have an app that's a game? How do you make that accessible to people?
You need to be on the Supreme Court.
I mean, you could be playing a game like Grand Theft Auto. What are you going to say? Oh, you turned right, you picked up a rocket launcher, and you shot somebody's grandma? How do you make everything accessible for people that can't see?
I don't know. I want to hear Nina Totenberg talk about this on NPR now. I'm very interested.
Okay. What show is this?
On NPR, Nina Totenberg. She's the Supreme Court lady. She covers all of it. She's so lovely.
I like how I asked who it is. You just repeated the name.
You don't know Nina?
No, I don't know Nina. I like you're on a first name basis with Nina.
Yeah, I know all the NPR people.
Neens? Yeah, we're on a nickname basis, me and Neens.
She breaks it all down. She makes it easy to follow.
Okay, well, listen in and give a report back. Next week, we'll hear what Neens has to say. And lastly, this week, Bing has launched a new content submission pilot, which allows publishers to not just submit URLs, but also full content in images. So you can now submit those images of your content and your content right to Bing. They don't have to crawl it first. You can just submit it. And again, that's building off of what had come last year, I believe. And that is it for our lightning round. And that brings us to our real life segment.
straight out of our accounts and into your ear holes.
It's time for Working Hard,
Or hardly working.
where we talk about what is going on in our IRL work,
Good,
bad,
or otherwise this week.
Shep, what's been happening with your accounts lately?
I have another gripe about Facebook ads again this week. They drive me crazy. This time it's about rules. I think rules are awesome, and on Microsoft and Google, they make a lot of sense, and they're very user-friendly. And the fact that Facebook ads does not have an option to set a rule to run just one time is so crazy to me. You can set it to run forever, essentially. It says lifetime, which why would you ever do that? Once a week, or you can set a daily schedule based on days of the week. If you want to have a campaign turn on or off one time based on a rule because it's a seasonal campaign or whatever reason, it's super complicated to set up and you have to do it in the conditions. And I've messed it up multiple times. I've seen other people on our team mess it up. They just need to be more user-friendly.
Yeah, and Google rules are great. They do a fantastic job for as much stuff as we give them sometimes. I think they do. Those rules are phenomenal. And Facebook could take a lesson by just stealing that entire process.
Get it together.
And I've got something that's working too hard that it's hardly working in my accounts. And it's about the disaster that is pay for conversions with Google Ads. In case you don't know, that's where you're not paying on a click basis or an impression basis. You're paying when a conversion comes in. Sounds good, right? Wrong. I mean, it's actually good. I love the thought of it, but there are so many issues with it. Mainly this week with budget. If your budget is X, you may think, hey, this is just like any other Google Ads campaign. My pay for conversion campaign can spend 2X because you give that flexibility now. Wrong. So pay for conversion campaigns can spend over that 2 times the threshold of the daily budget. And this can be a big problem. We had a client where we were getting good conversions coming in with this, but it went way overboard, 5X a daily budget before noon. And according to the rules, this is acceptable. So something you should know, it might be a place where a rule comes into play. You have an hourly rule and you can pause a campaign if it's going nuts like that. But there's a lot of granularity to why this can occur. Check out the show notes. Basically, if you change that daily budget, you see something happening, you change it, everything's reset and you can never get your money back.
It's a lot. Basically, every time I've tested it, I just don't sleep.
You can't ever sleep.
It's just scary.
You just wake up, set your budget, set a rule on your alarm clock to ring every 2 hours, wake up and check. No, yeah, it really, if you would want to have some kind of rule if you're running pay for conversion. It's at that point, people. So check out the show notes, but you can spend over 2X your daily budget. I did not think that was actually the case. I got to go back and do some sleuthing around. Maybe I'll get you on the case. You're good at that.
Okay, I'm on it.
All right, now it's time for this week's
WTH.
The WTH is a heck-worthy comment that is extra egregious from the digital marketing space. And this week's article comes from BuzzFeed. It should be themselves for the title they gave that other article. But this week's article is called "These Amazon Choice Sellers Are Bribing Customers for Good Reviews." And in the article, BuzzFeed talks about the fact that some sellers are offering gift cards or freebies in exchange for 5-star reviews. And Amazon is taking these folks and recommending their products as Amazon's choice. Have you ever seen any buying of reviews or somebody trying to goose the reviews with you?
I don't know what you mean. Do I
feel
catch
like
bad reviews?
I feel
in
like
the
one
wild?
out of probably 5 things I buy on Amazon that aren't like an Amazon product, people come back and message you, or there's something in there to say, get a free one if you review this.
I have never seen it.
I get that a lot.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
Maybe I'm not
buying.
looking on there as much as you.
I get it all the time where people are saying, give 5 stars, do this, do that, do the other thing, and sign it in, take a picture, and you get something free. And I think about it all the time, and I never do it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it doesn't work. But that's the thing, is people aren't leaving fake reviews anymore. Amazon cracked down on that pretty good. What they're trying to do is to tell people, if you leave a review, you take a picture of it or you send it in, then they'll give you something free. And that's still against Amazon's terms of service. It's just harder to detect.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the best things in this article was the fact of how one of these companies was trying to get the reviews. It was for a phone case for a Galaxy S10 Plus, and the image showed the case and some instructions on how you can get a $19 gift card for free, which would basically make the case you bought free.
Mm-hmm.
And on there, they said, you need to sign into your account, find your orders, leave a product review. You have to rate it 5 stars. And then you have to email us with your order number, and you have to take a screenshot of your review, and we send you $19. And then there's a funny picture of a sticker that says, please try not to post this card picture in the review.
So they must have had problems with that in the past.
And so guess what happened? Sean posted it in the review and gave it to BuzzFeed. It's really funny.
That's funny. First of all, the whole scheme they have going on, they don't say what kind of gift card it is, and he makes it clear in the article that it's not a good phone case and it didn't deserve the reviews it was getting. So why, if you get a crappy phone case, do you put up a bad review to get a gift card for another crappy phone case?
You have to put up a good review to get another crappy phone case. But you don't put up a bad review. If
they said it was an Amazon gift card, I would understand. But it could just be a gift card to this crappy retailer.
Yeah.
Seems crazy to me.
I've had related products where I bought something and they're like, oh, here's something else related. We'll send you as soon as you do steps 1, 2, and 3.
I have never seen that.
I get it all the time. I don't know. I'll have to take a picture of it.
So
Maybe
they're
I'll
messaging you through Amazon?
They send you the product. In this case, as somebody who's trying to be a blacksmith, I bought a knife sharpening kit.
Oh, that's normal.
Yeah. No, it's not. And they said, if you submit a review, we will then give you this specific jig or something like that for a knife. So it was something related to the product, saying once you do those 3 things, submit it. We'll then give you something related that we know you're going to like. So it wasn't necessarily about like a hecky phone case. It was something that may appeal to somebody buying that product.
How about you as a retailer make good products for the incentive of getting good reviews? That would just make more sense.
That's too easy, Chef. That's too easy. Why not just do the hard thing? Make something terrible and convince the world it's not terrible.
It's also hard for me to comment on this because I'm one of those people, I would only write a review if something really, really bad happened. And it's only happened like one time, but I don't write good reviews.
I'm either really good or really bad.
I should write good ones more.
You should. It goes a long way. You feel really good afterwards. Too.
Okay.
You're like, oh, I'm not just such a negative Nancy the whole time. It's like, I'm out there and I had a good time at this. Yeah. All right. And that brings us to this week's Cool Tool.
As a reminder, our Cool Tool is not an endorsement or paid mention. We're simply sharing something that we found in our travels that we think may be of use to our listeners. And our Cool Tool this week comes from Moz, and it's a domain analysis tool. All you have to do is enter any domain and they'll spit back competitive SEO metrics. So some of the ones you can find are most important pages based on page authority, top linking domains based on domain authority, discovered and lost linking domains, estimated clicks from keywords, and top search competitors or sites that rank for the same keywords is your domain. And what's really cool about this is not only is it absolutely free, but you can enter any domain. So you could do it for your own website or your competitors. So this is an awesome tool. As I said before, absolutely free. Get out there and check it out.
All right. Thank you, Moz. And that's Moz.com, or go to our show notes. And that brings us to this week's must-read marketing article of the week. An article so in-depth, so detailed, that we simply cannot cover it in its entirety on today's show. And this week's article comes from Katie Kirchner from Sear Interactive. And she has a blog post called 18 Ways to Diagnose a Decline in Organic Traffic. And Katie takes a look at some of the possible factors out there that could be hurting your organic traffic and why you might be seeing those dips. She looks into seasonality, increased competition, decreased visibility or keyword ranking shifts. And one thing just to show some insight as to what Katie gives, let's look at decreased visibility. She talks about compare search demand. And she says, using monthly search volume from Keyword Planner and search impressions from Google Search Console, you can determine if there are more or less searchers searching for topics your site covers for a specific time period. She shows an example of the impressions being down, not the position, but the impressions, so that you can determine, yep, this is seasonality. This is not a ranking issue. So I think she does a great job being very sensible about it. Also talks about technical errors, what to do when all else fails, and takeaways, what you can do as a marketer. So thank you, Katie. And that does it for this week's show. If you like podcasts, and I know you do, there's a great new podcast over on the Search Engine Journal show where Danny Goodwin interviews Aleda Solis. It's a pretty long, pretty in-depth interview. If you like anything to do with international SEO, this is going to be your jam. So check it out. Head over to Search Engine Journal. And if you want a t-shirt or stickers that are really rad, head on over to Marketing Clock. You can get a link over there. We've got a giveaway with a bunch of stickers to give out and shirts. If you are so lucky, you can even choose 3 different designs. So head over to Marketing Clock and get that link.
All right, that does it for today's show.
Thank you, Optio. Remember, head over to optio.com/marketingoclock for a free trial.
Not just a free trial, 6 weeks, absolutely free.
You can't get that anywhere else.
Nope.
It is now officially not Marketing O'Clock.
Remember, you can catch everything from this show on marketingoclock.com. While you're there, please subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
And we will see you next week.